to the best morning show on the globe. It's Bradham and Emery in the morning, y'all. LeBron or Jordan, either one when I'm performing. Crossover, buzzer beater and I'm scoring. Bradham and Emery in the morning. Every play they on it. Every day I'm balling. Who's the coach? Who's the GOAT? Like Brady and Belichick, best show on the globe. And they embellish it. Y'all pin Ziffy, I'm Ken Griffey or maybe Mahomes. I stay in the zone, whether man to man or play in the zone. They can't stop me. Mayweather boxing, Curry with the shot, man. We just the best to be. Can we have our SB, please? This was meant to be. Every morning with Bradham and Emery.
Welcome in, everybody. Bradham Emery in the morning. Marques, Bradham, Justin, Emery.
Yo. Today was wild. When you look back and look at like what happened today, January 25th.
Let's talk about it.
So the first one I'll give you is sports. I'm a big Olympics guy. I don't know if you are. I love me some Olympics, but
Me
only
too.
the Summer Olympics. Don't really care.
You're out on Winter Olympics, totally.
I'm not totally out, but care significantly
I'm gonna
less.
share a secret with you. I was a figure skating man. You're talking the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan generation guy.
Okay.
I saw that stuff live.
Okay.
It was riveting television.
Okay. It very well could have been.
And speed skating is a lot of fun too.
I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm not watching it. Just,
Yeah, you're
I
just
care.
more. And most people are. Most people are. I think I'm more summer too.
And I'm a huge USA basketball guy, so obviously give me Team USA basketball.
Yeah, especially today because now, you got the NBA players playing for all sorts of other nations, so the competition is really a lot of fun.
Yeah, so give me that.
Yeah.
But it's the 97th anniversary of the first ever Winter Olympics.
Wow.
In the French Alps.
Look at that.
Apparently, the news clipping said people were astonished by the ski, like the ski tricks and everything. They had never really seen that up close and personal before that.
I'm gonna date myself right here. One of my favorite video games of all time. I had an Atari, and it was called the Winter Games, but it was made after Winter Olympics. It'd be slalom, and figure skate. Not figure skating. It'd be skiing, speed skating. I was obsessed with that game.
Okay.
Like, it was one of my favorite video games ever.
A game that I was a big fan of was SSX Tricky. Are you familiar with that game? It was think Tony Hawk but snowboarding.
Okay.
Tony Hawk but snowboarding.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it. The soundtrack was done by Run DMC.
I like it.
Obviously,
Well, yeah, why not?
At Tricky,
Yeah,
it
was tricky.
Yeah. So, great game. Game. I want to say it was done by Nintendo, but
It
I'm not.
sounded like Nintendo.
But it was think Tony Hawk but snowboarding.
I used to love on Nintendo BMX bike.
Yeah.
I think it was Excite Bike. Was the name
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
Excite Bike.
Excite Bike was the game.
That was
the game.
high up there.
Yeah.
High ranking up there.
Absolutely.
And then
What else we got?
non-sports in South Africa, 1905.
Okay.
My man, Frederick Wells, Freddie Dubs, finds the largest diamond ever.
To this day?
To this day, the largest diamond ever, almost 1,400 carats.
What?
Yes.
That's a rock right there.
So he's down.
That's a boulder.
He's down in the mine.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like looking just up. It's stars out. It's nighttime. Glimpse of the sun catches something that he sees.
Yeah.
Climbs up a little bit, pulls it out. This diamond is so big that it has been cut down into 4 other diamonds, that those 4 are still the 4 largest diamonds.
Shining bright like a diamond.
Yes.
Look at that.
And he was very worried that so he presented it to the owner of the mine who had hired him for the excavation, and he wanted it sent back to London where he lived.
Right.
He was worried, though, that it was going to be somebody's going to try to rob it. It's worth millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's worth 9 figures over 100 years ago. What's it worth now?
Right. Yeah.
So he actually sent a big ceremonial send-off for it, but it was a decoy. He put nothing in that box. And in a plain old box with nothing on it, he just shipped it back to London.
Wow.
And it got sent there with no issues whatsoever.
Freddie Dubs.
Freddie Dubs.
Freddie Diamonds.
Freddie Diamonds.
Yo, that's insane. Dude, I know you're not a huge movie guy, but I'm going to take a shot. Have you ever seen Blood Diamond?
No.
You should definitely check it out. It's definitely it talks about the diamond culture of Africa, the blood diamonds and the things that happen in Africa with the diamond stuff. It's a really, really good movie.
You want me to go a little bit? This might be kind of blasphemous. I don't know.
Okay.
Never even heard of it prior to you just saying it.
All right. I mean, it's I wouldn't.
I understand it's not Thursday. We're not breaking this out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a mainstream Leo. I don't know if it's a mainstream Leo movie where people are like, when they think Leonardo DiCaprio, it's not Titanic, or it's not one of his Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
I would say it more is in his B sides.
Okay.
But it's a really solid B side. It's one of my favorites of him.
Right.
Leonardo DiCaprio is. I think it's getting better now with him, but people held him to that Titanic standard for a very long time. I know a lot of men refuse to, acknowledge him because it was he was a Titanic guy. No. But he is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And he can do anything. He can act, he can do anything at all. He's one of those guys. So I have a short list of guys. When I see a movie trailer for them, I'm in. I'm in automatically. I don't have to know much about it. For me, it's like Leo, Denzel, Pacino, De Niro. I was a big Kevin Spacey guy too. Ed Norton's another guy of mine. But I see trailers for certain people. It's like that's okay. I'm convinced. I'm in. I don't need to. I can even hear their name. They're coming out with a movie next week. I'm gonna be in on it. Just based off knowing that it's probably gonna be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't honestly think of any actor or actress that does that for me. But I'm glad that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great actor. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah.
There's just nobody that does that for me.
You're not a movie guy.
No.
It's okay.
And I'm impressed by Freddie Dubs with the with the decoy.
Absolutely, man. That was a bold move.
With the multi-million-dollar Trojan horse.
Exactly. Yo, incredible. But we need to get into this championship Sunday right now.
Okay.
Because it was a great day of football as championship Sundays usually provide. I want to start with Game 2 first because Game 2 had less of the drama, and I know Game 1 will be something we're going to be talking about for
a while,
a lot longer. So I want to talk Game 2 first. Listen, you guys all know. Yes. Well,
okay. Well,
yes.
You were hard on Buffalo.
Yes, and
you had said on Friday. You said you were going to pound the Buffalo money line. I hope you didn't.
I did not.
All right, good.
I did not because a little story real quick. So I had a nice parlay Friday, and I'm starting to get to the point now where I may only bet underdogs, because when I bet a plus line, I hit at I'm gonna say 68 to 75%. My plus lines hit. I don't know what it is. I just know. I see a dog and I'm like, that's it. My favorites, I probably hit in the 30 to 40% range. I don't know why. I don't know what that is, but it always seems the favorites are the ones that always get me. I had a nice 7-team stack on a Friday night. I hit on 6, and in that 7, I had 4 dogs in that 7.
Very nice.
Hit on all of them. What game trips me up? The Brooklyn Nets. And I know they didn't have KD, but they were still They were getting 6. They were 6.5.
I know.
Against Cleveland, and Cleveland's been playing better. But come on, bro.
No, I mean,
come on, man.
They
lost by 12.
I'm getting very, very frustrated with how these games are.
They lost by 12. It wasn't even competitive for most of the game.
The virus is making and the NBA nearly impossible to bet on.
I agree. It's definitely there was a period
and Aaron Rodgers is making the NFL impossible to bet on.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, where I wasn't touching the NBA because things were just a mess. I thought things kind of plateaued and bounced a little bit in the last week or so, where there were games I felt like I touched, but yeah, man. But let's stay focused though. So I was a little surprised. Here's what I didn't think was going to happen. I feel like the moment became too big for the Bills. They were consumed.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I feel like they were consumed by the moment. Here's what my point to. Second quarter, because the Chiefs come off like a basketball team. They play football like basketball. They go on runs, and they can hit you with that 15-2 run, and then like remember how the Warriors were a couple years ago, where you're feeling competitive, and all of a sudden the Warriors go like a 25-3 run, and like that was the book on them. Stop those runs. You can't allow those 25-3, 17-2 type of runs. And I remember I'll go back. I'll even use a baseball analogy. The Phillies, the dominant Phillies of 07 to 12. There was actually a scout that said this about the Phillies. You'll think you're okay. You think you're doing fine. All of a sudden, the Phillies will hang a crooked number on you, and the game's over. Like it's 1-1 going into the sixth, and the Phillies put up 6.
Yeah.
And the Phillies all of a sudden turn into a softball team. That's kind of how the Chiefs are. The Chiefs can blitz you and go on these crazy runs, and I feel like Buffalo had no idea how to stop the bleeding. And the Chiefs went on this run, and that was pretty much the game. Buffalo really had no answer. And it was weird because the way it started out, Buffalo, they go on the field, they get the field goal, good. You get the turnover, you score a touchdown, good. And then, you kind of figured, just judging about the minimum of a football game, Kansas City's going to score in this possession.
Right.
You knew that was going to happen.
Well, it was Nance and Romo on the call yesterday, right?
Yes.
So Jim Nance said towards the end of the game, he goes, if I told you that Buffalo was going to score the first 9 points and the last 9 points of the game, who would you think won the game? He's like, but the real telltale sign is in the middle, it was a 38-6 Kansas City.
That's the run. That's the run.
And Tyreek Hill.
Oh my gosh.
So I was pushing back against it. I thought he was just like a slightly better version of Deshaun Jackson. With the speed.
In his prime.
Yes.
But
I'm no. This dude, he can gash you up however he wants to do it.
Right. But like that's not a bad comparison because let's not forget Deshaun in his prime was a bad man.
Yeah, but a lot of people said he really only ran one pattern, just so that he ran that one pattern.
But he did that really well. And Deshaun could take a screen to the house in his prime.
Yeah. And
I actually like that comparison.
I always thought Tyreek Hill was just a little bit better version of Deshaun Jackson.
He probably is. But a little bit better Deshaun Jackson is probably a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
Like Deshaun in his prime was ridiculous.
Yes.
And Tyreek Hill is ridiculous on stilts.
Like there was seasons where he would average 18 to 20 yards per catch.
And let's not take away.
He was one of the original Madden numbers guys in the NFL.
Yeah, and Deshaun, let's not take away the fact that Deshaun is one of the greatest ball trackers in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Like it was like playing ultimate frisbee with him. Just throw it really, really far, he'll catch up to it.
Yeah.
And like
Vic, who has one of the strongest arms we've ever seen, has said before, he's like, I learned in training camp real quick. Mm-hmm. I don't really have to throw it to him. Just let it rip out there and let him go.
Let him go get it.
Let him go get it.
Yeah, and he was amazing at that. So I actually am on board with that analogy. Because just like I said, as great as Deshaun Jackson was and as powerful as he was, Tyreek Hill is that much better.
Yeah.
Because I forget what commentator said this about Tyreek Hill. He said, listen, with the Chiefs, you can't let Tyreek Hill ruin the game. Don't let him ruin the game by doing something ridiculous. And that's what he was doing yesterday is that he would take these little 3-yard, screen passes for 70. And he was Buffalo wasn't doing anything.
And here's the thing that makes him even more dangerous.
Yeah. Is
Travis Kelce, and they can just pound the ball. Their offense, if whatever you're trying to do, they're trying to do. Like if you want to do a shootout, we're in here for a shootout. You want us to run the ball?
Yep.
You want us to tear you up in the middle of the field?
Yeah.
How about hitting you outside the numbers deep? And what are you trying to do?
I asked you yesterday about Travis Kelce, about is he the most devastating, unstoppable tight end we've ever seen? And it just seems whenever he is throwing the football, he's wide open. And I don't understand. I know it's partly play design because you got two of the best with Reed and Bieniemy, and then apparently Mike Kafka also is another guy that's really good at this stuff too. So I'm sure a lot of it is play design, but like also it's the talent of the player. Like Travis Kelce is an all-timer.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with, Mahomes is an all-timer. Then you got Tariq, all-timer. Kelce, all-timer. And then you have good complementary pieces around that just make it go. So someone put out, I want you to react to this. Someone put out a tweet about Andy Reid and his impact on the team and impact on the Chiefs organization. This was the tweet. Truly unbelievable irony. When the Eagles moved from Andy Reid and hired Chip Kelly in 2013, the Eagles thought they got the coach who was going to revolutionize the NFL. Andy Reid then revolutionized the NFL. How do you respond to that?
My response is pump the brakes and show me Andy Reid's track record in Kansas City pre-Patrick Mahomes and post-Patrick Mahomes.
That's what Andy Reid does, right? He's a quarterback guy.
But prior to getting his, what was it, 5 years he was there before Mahomes got there? 4 years?
Right.
Those 4 years. He was good.
Yeah.
But they were not
phenomenal.
Alex.
No offense to Alex Smith, but Alex Smith isn't capable of doing the things Patrick Mahomes is.
Yeah, but but what if Cleveland doesn't screw this up, and they or Chicago either? What if they don't screw this up and they take Mahomes?
Well, flip it. Is Patrick Mahomes the same player he is in Chicago?
I think so. I think that he's just good enough, because a lot of his attributes. I mean, yes, between the ears, he's elite as well, but all of his attributes coming into the NFL were all physical.
Yes.
So he wouldn't have lost his cannon arm if he played for Chicago.
But I think you're undervaluing Andy Reid's impact on quarterbacks.
No,
going back.
No,
to
he is, and he's
Brett
one
Favre,
of the he's one of the best offensive minds
McNabb,
the NFL's ever seen.
Vic,
but
Mahomes,
and
even Alex Smith, he did well with him. He just couldn't do anything more with him.
But but so did Harbaugh. He did well with Alex Smith too.
Yeah, I agree.
My point is that pump the brakes. Yes, he's phenomenal. However, look what Belichick did without Brady, pre and post Brady. He was just okay. Does that mean that Bill Belichick's not one of the best coaches ever? I mean,
right. Belichick also though it's a little different in my opinion because Belichick's a defensive guy. So Brady leaving was obviously huge. However,
but here's the thing:
I don't credit Belichick with Brady's success. But I would never give him credit for that. But
then, how can you? My point is that people are trying to have it both ways. Okay. They're crediting all of Belichick's success to Brady, while not knocking Reid's success because of Mahomes at the same time. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I agree with you. So that's not what I'm doing, though.
No, I understand, but that's what the big argument is.
Right.
My thing is that if Mahomes never comes along to Kansas City,
right?
Does he have a ring and is going back-to-back Super Bowls?
No, I don't.
Probably not.
I don't think so. At all. No.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. Andy revolutionized the NFL when he happened to get a revolutionary player.
Right, but I mean, I know.
And I'm tired of Eagles fans act like if the Chiefs win this Super Bowl, it's not like you're getting a trophy in your case.
Sure,
so he got his. Everybody was like, he deserves to win. He deserved to win. Yeah. He got his ring last year.
Right.
Now you're the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs now.
Right, I think it is a lot of revisionist history when it comes to Andy Reid because I know most people want him gone.
Well, he was here for 14 years.
Right.
He's next year will be his 9th year there.
Yes.
He's been there almost as long as here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So can we stop calling him former Eagles coach Andy Reid?
Right.
He's been there almost a decade.
And let's not forget too, he was kicked to the curb.
Yes.
Like no one wanted him here after that.
Now, I don't really remember, but did he interview anywhere else besides Kansas City?
He literally just walked out the door and went right to Kansas City. Like they said.
I mean, I'm sure he would have had other interviews.
Oh, no question, he would have.
I just don't recall him.
He got
any
snatched up immediately there. So a couple minutes before we go to break. So I want to talk about briefly. I want to ask your opinion on this, and then we're gonna move on from this game. It is actually interesting. We talked a little bit about Andy Reid because this literally leads right into this question I'm gonna ask you. When you see a team like the Chiefs offensively and how dynamic they are, and the players, the natural argument always comes: what's more important here? Is this players or is this scheme? Like what? Because the play design that we are seeing with the Chiefs is extremely unique. They do a lot of things that the NFL really hasn't seen. You know, a lot of their play designs and then the motion they use and how they're able to create space for their playmakers is a very unique scheme design.
Yeah.
And like, you know, we talk about Mahomes. Mahomes, I think, yeah, you're right. Mahomes, in my opinion, would have been successful wherever he went. I don't know that.
There's certain guys.
I don't know that would have been this level because of how great Andy Reid is with quarterbacks. But he definitely would have been.
Like there's certain guys who would have been great. Like Andrew Luck would have been phenomenal whatever team he played for.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson would have been phenomenal whatever team he played for. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Who's somebody else that Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, yeah.
You know, I even think Drew Brees, had he went to the Dolphins with Nick Saban instead of, in New Orleans Sean Payton, I still think he would have been
right because he turned New Orleans around. He probably did the same thing in Miami.
Yeah. Like Phillip Rivers obviously was with he goes to another team. So there's certain guys.
The Giants, that trade doesn't happen.
Yeah. So there's certain guys you just know. Like, I mean, we never had to see Roethlisberger play with a different team, right. But I bet you Roethlisberger, wherever he played at,
right.
would have. Now he may have had a slow. No, he had a slow arc. He may have had an even slower arc if the didn't hire just like elite offensive coordinators there to help him. But I think he would have been good wherever he went to.
Now Mahomes was more of a diamond in the rough. Like people saw his arm strength, his speed. But there were a little bit of questions of him coming out of Texas Tech based on the competition they were playing.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech's not –
playing in the Big 12.
Yeah, like they produce football players, but I wouldn't call them a football powerhouse.
Right. But so what's more important here? The players or the scheme?
I think that for me so there's a caveat to it. Mm-hmm. With elite schemers, I guess would be the proper term. With elite schemers, it would be scheme. Like when you have guys like Andy Reid, like that is significantly more important than good players. But if it's someone who's less of an X's and O's person and needs to rely more on the raw talent of the player, then I think it comes down to players. Like, for example, Andy Reid. I think it's I'm not saying that you need to have the good players. He has three all-time great players on his offense.
Right.
So that helps.
Right.
But if we're talking percentages, just say more than 50% for the Kansas City Chiefs is scheme.
Right.
I'm not going to say what it is, but more than 50%. Whereas someone along the lines of, I don't know, let's say Doug Peterson, you need to have players' talent to be more than 50%.
Right, and a guy like Doug.
Or actually, a better one, because I literally just said Doug Peterson to beat him up a little bit. But in all actuality, like Aaron Rodgers, with Matt LaFleur, which we'll get into on the other side of, or we'll get into later on after.
Yes, we will.
Later down the show.
Yes, we will.
But that's the person who needs elite talent to make up for his not so great scheming.
Right.
And
it's always an interesting conversation when it comes to that.
And but when you see something come together like elite talent and elite scheming, that's when you see something special like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
So
yeah, you have a great combination here of guys who like
Sean McVay when he had the Super Bowl run with Gurley and Woods and Cooks,
right?
And there's other guys that on that team I just can't think. Cup and all That was, an elite offense with great scheming.
I agree.
Josh McDaniels when he got Randy Moss in New England, elite scheming with elite talent.
Yes. All right, so listen, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we're going to pick up on Championship Sunday, Game 1 in a little bit. But when we come back, we got a very special guest. We're going to talk a little food.
We got Chef J. Cohl coming on.
We're going to talk a little food with J. Cohl coming up. It's Brad Emery Morning. Marcus Brad, I'm Justin Emery. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Marcus Brad. I'm here to talk to you today about Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream. USA Today selected Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream as the best ice cream parlor in Pennsylvania. Uncle Mike's is family-owned and dedicated to the production of premium quality gourmet ice cream and sorbet, made fresh daily on the premises using the highest quality ingredients available. Uncle Mike's features over 30 unique, delicious flavors offered in scoops, sundaes, shakes, and special order ice cream cakes and pies. Uncle Mike's Homemade Ice Cream is located at 537 York Road, and Warminster is open all year round. Visit Uncle Mike's friendly staff and let them serve you happiness one scoop at a time. Yeah, man, welcome back. Marcus Brad, I'm Justin Emery. Brad and Emery in the morning. So picking up where we left off with the scheme versus the player, it's always an interesting debate when you get in a situation when you do the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs' offense is so dynamic. It always lends to
at any
type of
point
questions.
in time, like once they started rolling,
Yeah.
like you just feel the
It's
wave.
an avalanche.
It's
an avalanche.
It feels demoralizing for the other team.
And that's also like, the most
And then you started seeing it boil over at the end of the game. The players on Buffalo were just they've had it. And it's got to be so frustrating to know, like, you can have Tyreek Hill dead in your crosshairs. Like, you're going to light him up.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. Like, it's got to just be so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, it would frustrate me as just like an everyday person.
Right.
But as a pro athlete, to have another pro athlete just
make you look like a child.
Yeah, it's gotta.
He looks like dad playing football with like his 6-year-old son.
Yeah.
Like on a regular basis. It's really hard. And like you know, that was the most complete football game from the Chiefs they played all year. And it just so happened to be against the Bills, which they need to do that. Like, they need to be clicking on all cylinders to beat the Bills. I believe the Bills were that good. But I will go to the one play to me that I hope Sean McDermott learns from. I would not have settled for that field goal at halftime. I mean, it's 21-9. You got the run. They had the run. A touchdown. Like, I would have been much more inclined if they didn't score on that. Fine, you went for it though. You went for it. You know, it didn't work out, but at least you're showing your team, hey, we're here to win. We're not here to hang around with these guys. We're here to win. You're 4th and 2. You're one of the best red zone defenses in the NFL, going against the worst red zone defense in the NFL. You're on your goal line. You're at the 2 or 3 yard line, 4th and 2. You got Josh Allen, super dynamic. Get him on the outside. Maybe get him around the outside to score. Do something. Because then you go into halftime. It's 21-16. We got a game here. Because and then what did the Chiefs do? They come out of halftime. They only get a field goal. So then, again, it's 24-16 instead of 24-12. So the dynamic of everything shifts because now it's like, hey, guys, we're in here. We're here.
I was okay with the field goal because when you're only because it was going into halftime. Like, if it was in the middle of the second quarter or some point, going into halftime, you always got to play everything a little bit different. I was okay with it because when you're facing that avalanche, you need all the points you can get.
See, I look at it while you're facing the avalanche. I need to score as many points as I can.
But you can't. You don't know. You need to put those 3 points on the board.
But the thing, like, so I look at it like it's 21-9,
right?
And if here's my fear: they're going to score a touchdown at halftime. So even if I get this field goal, I'm looking down the barrel of 28-12.
Okay.
That doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
I got to assume, the way things are going with them right now, I got to assume they're going to touchdown.
Yes.
I need touchdowns.
Yes.
So that's why, for me, and you're a young coach, you're an AFC championship, let's put all the cards on the table. Let's go. Let's get it. I
was all right with that.
Okay.
I'm not going to,
right.
When you look at the final score, I'm not going to kill him over.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
Let me ask you a question. You hungry?
Oh, I'm always hungry.
Me too.
I'm always hungry.
Let's talk some food, man.
Yeah, we got our guy
guest.
J. Cohl on the line right now, joining us for a long.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
How's it going,
man?
Hey, it's good. I'm listening to the show, and I'm just going to throw this out there because God knows I'm not a sports expert, but I've been watching it over bar stools for years.
Okay.
When you play scared, you lose. All the time. When you play
Facts
scared,
only.
You lose. You play small, you lose. And I don't have stats. I just know what I've watched catering and stuff over the decades. Every time someone's conservative, every time someone goes for a field goal, they almost never win. I don't care what they say on TV. I'm just watching it. We're watching it, and I'm like, oh, they're going to lose. Now, I understand in the big picture it didn't matter, but it's about morale. It's about the vibe. You know what I mean? You got to sort of, we're going to go for it. I think if some of these coaches played like it was Madden, the ratings would be higher, and maybe the team would be more fired up.
Yeah, it's just, you're right. The morale of the team. What are you saying to your team when you have one of the best red zone offenses in the NFL going against the worst red zone defense in the NFL? You know you got Mahomes on the other side. He's going to score points. What are you saying to them when you need the 7, but you don't want to do it because you're just trying to put 3 on the board? That's my perspective.
It's almost like someone picked. They had their suicide pool, and somebody picked, field goal before the half and circled that, and you wanted to hook that boy up. And I'm like, no. That, you know what? You helped one person, and you pissed off a million. Good luck.
Right. We're gonna get in
that's
the game.
A great point.
We're gonna get into game 1 later, but what did the Bucks do? They risked it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
And they got the biscuit at halftime. And that play was a momentum killer. That was a throat stomp.
One of the reasons it absolutely is, and one of the reasons I called today is I wanted to express how glad I was to see Tom Brady finally catch a break in this game. He's been in it a long time, and
it's been a tough road for him.
Pick one up.
Yeah, I'm really glad it finally bounced in his favor. For
once.
us.
Ever since he's turned 40, things have gone downhill.
Right.
I hate to say it, but I did this years ago as a joke, and people who are listening to this and also know wrestling will get this reference. When that guy would win, I would hashtag NFL is raw. And it just seems, I hate to say it, I know the guy's good, but it just seems like, you know what, man, you put this guy over constantly.
He's 80s Hulk
well,
Hogan.
like 6 times in 20 years. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's 80s Hulk Hogan.
I was just going to say, come on, man. I get it. This guy is over. You're making money with him. But there are teams out there that still think the game is a shoot, and they're trying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great point. I mean, he gets to be the only person to ever host a home Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, and, how better.
No,
and he
the guy is next up to be like the – No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. I'm kind of like in disbelief. I'm watching a little bit of the stats, and I'm like, the highlights from yesterday.
Yeah, you look at the stats that Pat McPhee's podcast they put out of his numbers and the things he's done after 37. Like, he has better stats in the past 6 years than some Hall of Famers have in their entire career.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely absurd.
That's what I was just looking at because I listen to McPhee at McPhee, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's absurd when you really break it down, the legend of him. I mean, listen, for me personally, I'm a greatness guy. I love watching greatness. So, I don't have the venom that a lot of people have towards him because I love being able to appreciate history and appreciate greatness. So, I'm in on all of it.
Well,
it's my team.
Well, you know who public enemy number 1 is in Tampa Bay right now? The Rays manager. Because you had the Lightning win the Cup.
Yeah.
You got the Buccaneers hosting the home Super Bowl.
And you got Blake Snell on the mound.
Yes, and you screwed that up. You could have had all 3 of your teams potentially win a chip in the same year.
But hey, what did J. Cole tell you? Don't play scared.
Don't play scared.
That's the moral of the segment so far. Don't play scared.
It's easy for me to say, right? I haven't played football since like the 12th grade. It's easy for me to say, but it just seems that way. I've done a lot of Super Bowl parties. I've done a lot of playoff parties. I've done a lot of playoff events with food trucks and catering. And I'm watching the game out of the corner of my eye as we're prepping food, as we're doing whatever. And the first couple of years you're watching it, you're like, oh, maybe they should have went for 3 there. That made sense. And then after 15 or 20 years, even the commentators are like, oh, well, the smart thing is to go to 3. No, it's not.
Right.
That's never the smart thing to do.
Right, especially in a situation
like
that.
And sure enough, of course, and I get in this case, Buffalo was sort of, let's be honest, they were sort of screwed.
Yeah.
Unless they had like a 17-point play. It wasn't,
Right. So listen, let's talk some food, man. Let's get into some food. So Justin,
absolutely.
Justin has introduced me to the culture of table nachos, and I am now like, if table nachos were religion, I think about it. I consider it. I consider going there. Like, first of all, my question for you is this: if you had a table, and you had the option of doing table nachos, how would you make this happen? What would be your formula?
First thing would be butcher paper across the whole table because I don't want any plates. If we're going to do this, let's do this, right?
No foil butcher paper. Okay.
No foil. I mean, I understand there's like a foil debate. A lot of the Facebook groups for food use foil, don't use foil. I'm not a foil guy. You want to put a piece of wedding cake on the way home in foil? That's up to you. Real food? No, I can't, man. No. I do butcher paper. You can find this stuff. A lot of times I do these bits and people are like, hey, where do you get this stuff? I'm no genius, man. Go to Costco. Go to Sam's Club. It's all in there somewhere. It's in those parts of the stores you don't go. People tell me, where do you find these big tinfoil totes? They're in the part of the store you don't go to. You grab your Pop-Tarts and you're out. And that's all good. But if you go to the back of the store, you'll see all the stuff the caterers use that the normal person can buy.
You've already upgraded my life already. I was going to go foil, and now I'm out of that. Thanks. I appreciate that.
No,
thanks for setting me straight.
And depending on what you're going to use, double it up. I mean, you're going to buy a roll anyway. It's not like they sell butcher paper by the sheet. You're going to buy a roll anyway. So kind of double it up, or if it's a super nice table, I'd say even triple it up. I mean, this way you're not like, oh, this is a $600 table I just turned into a big plate,
Right.
But it works. It works. And then I would probably go with one side just fried tortilla chips, and the other side I'd probably hit with some kind of seasoning.
Ooh.
So the chip itself.
if you could see the look that just crossed his face when you said that right now.
Yo, I feel like I'm in church right now. I feel like J. Cole's preaching right now. we need to get you a rope for this segment.
Deal. I don't want to. I don't like to name drop, but I like to use this as a reference just so people know I'm not making this stuff up. Years ago, Mike Strauss, he had Taproom on 19th, and now I know you guys are in there every week getting barbecue at Mike's Barbecue.
Yeah.
He used to talk about you could buy the simplest seasoning, like Peruvian chili spice. I mean, this is just sitting on the ShopRite shelf or something. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm pulling out some crap from Culinary Hogwarts or whatever. You know, you can find these things on the supermarket shelf, Acme, ShopRite, whatever. Chips come out of the fryer. You just hit them with that seasoning, give them a little toss, dump them right on the plate. So you've got like the home team and the away team. The away team side, all spicy. Home team, plain. Maybe you hit it with a little drizzle of lime. So, you get those people at the party or those people that come over, and they're not into chili. They're not into the heat. Well, that one side you can sort of do with sour cream, guac, and rather than bowls, because let's be honest, nobody wants to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you right here. I gotta stop for a second because,
sure. He just pulled out his notebook.
I'm busting out the paper right now. I got the pen. I'm gonna start taking notes. Okay. I feel like this is turned into class. So I got the paper out. All right, we're gonna do the seat. We're gonna do the paper. All right, no foil.
He's writing it down. He's got home team versus away team.
Home versus away. What else we got? We got simple seasonings. All right. Okay, continue.
Yeah, there's no reason to go crazy because and do that. You know what I mean? If it's like you and three of your boys and you all like to just, blaze away, then sure. Yeah. Grab the ghost pepper chili, throw it on there, do whatever you want to.
Right.
But that, not everybody's down with that.
Right.
The next thing I would tell people to do is, and if you've ever seen pasta being made on Food Network, and even if you're not the biggest food person in the world, you've probably seen this. It's a big pile of flour. You make a little well in the middle of it. You drop the egg. You start mixing. Right. Pretty basic and simple.
Yeah.
You're going to cover the table with nachos, with tortilla chips. Right.
Right.
All you do is gently put your hand in. Use a glove if it's more than just one or two people.
Right.
And in a circular motion, start making an opening about 6 inches across. In that opening, dump your salsa. Don't worry about a bowl. Nobody wants to see a bowl anyway. They're table nachos.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
The salsa will be held in by the chips all around it.
Right.
And as people eat the chips, the salsa will – the level of chip and topping should go down at the same time.
Facts.
You do guac, you do sour cream, maybe you decide you want to get crazy, do some kind of chipotle crema. And then on the other side, the spicy side, maybe you do some crumbled chorizo.
Wait, can
you do some shrimp?
Time out. What is a chipotle crema?
Sure. Chipotle crema is fairly easy to make. You can get a can of Chipotles again in any Acme or ShopRite.
Okay.
You mix it with 50% sour cream and 50% mayo.
Okay.
You can do that the night before. Let it sit in the fridge. Comes out, you hit it with a little lime juice right before people start eating it. It's simple, it's quick, and it's cheap. Let's be honest, man. This hasn't been the best year for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So, mayo, sour cream. I think that can of Chipotle is about 89 cents at the Acme.
What are you doing for the Super Bowl? You want to come over?
The funny thing is, this will be the first Super Bowl, and I'm trying to think. This might be the first Super Bowl in about 20-plus years where I'm not working or hosting an event for sponsors. Full disclosure, one of the reasons I didn't do it today, I'll throw it out there. Everybody knows I kind of, I'm friends with Rastelli Market. Mm-hmm. A couple of years, I hosted Super Bowl parties at a friend's house and used all their stuff. So people kind of got the impression that I was using all the stuff that's hard to find. Now, all the things I used, you can find at ShopRite, Acme, Wegmans, whatever. The reason I get the stuff from Rastelli's is because I'm friends with the family. It just makes it easy. It's 10 minutes from my house. I shoot down there. They take care of me. But I've said this on my own show. People will leave me these messages like, I don't know if they're trying to start stuff, but they're like, well, it's easy for you because you have friends in the business.
Right.
No, man, just go into ShopRite and ask the lady where these things are.
Hey, you know what one of my favorite acronyms are? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. And that's kind of what these table nachos are.
Yeah, let's get back to nachos.
These table nachos are sure. These table nachos are, you're going to use kitchen table, right? And I would say this is a common sense deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
A buddy of mine, I'm talking him through these for Sunday and his kids. He's using his ping pong table.
Oh, wow.
Taking the net down, wrapping it with butcher paper. He's got 4 kids, his wife, his brother's coming over. There's going to be 7 or 8 people, right? So
I hope there's heavy sanitizer involved in that table.
You kind of, I would say you probably want to use a table based roughly on the size of people you have.
Yeah.
If it's a couple guys, you can use a kitchen table. If it's 6 people, well, maybe the dining room table.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a party years and years ago where I made grilled cheese sandwiches on an ironing board with an iron because people dared me to. It's one of those things where it's 1 a.m, you're drinking, and someone's like, I bet you can't do this. And I'm like, I bet I can.
And you made it happen.
So there's always a way. There's always a way. I said on Twitter, somebody asked me yesterday about table nachos, and I said, look, if you have to, if it means that much to you, go to Home Depot and get a sheet of plywood 4x8 and stick it on 2 horses. And you've got an 8-foot table 4 feet wide. That'll easily feed a dozen people.
There you go.
I love it. Now, you had mentioned, hosting
Sure,
Super Bowl parties for forever. So if I was going to come to said Super Bowl party, what dish is going to blow my mind where, I'll be standing next to it at the table and just the guy, this is great. And then every time somebody went to go, let me try it with you. So, what's something that you usually put out on the Super Bowl for the spread?
After a while, I started doing themes. We did a meatball theme one year.
Ooh.
And we did meatballs with pork, chicken, beef.
I love that.
We did Asian, we did Italian, we did buffalo. The one that really seemed to make people kind of take notice, and I just, and it's not me patting myself on the back or whatever. I got this idea from my buddy Mike. He used to own Mama's Meatballs. It was a food truck, then it's a restaurant. He's since sold it to someone else. He came up with the idea in our area anyway of the stuffed meatball. So essentially I took a chunk of blue cheese, ground chicken around it, formed it into a meatball. You cook it off, however, you can air fry it, you can do whatever you want to.
Okay.
And then it sits in buffalo sauce. Or whatever hot sauce you like for wings.
If you're not a blue cheese guy, is there a substitute you could use?
Oh, sure. I did a bunch of them. I did it with cheddar.
Okay.
I did it with nacho.
Ooh.
I'm in.
Ooh.
I did it with I did it with nacho cheese, and this is starting to get a little food sciencey. But I added tapioca to nacho cheese, and it causes it to firm up on the spoon.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, it becomes a disc. Then you can put the ground chicken around it.
That's next level.
And most
So
people who cook,
you can only get that. You can only get that knowledge here.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
not
only
happening.
knowledge.
That's
You
not
can't get that
happening
knowledge
else.
anywhere else. You can get that here.
I consider myself to be. I know my way around the kitchen a little bit, but I feel completely inadequate, and I'm prepared for this conversation. I now realize I don't know anything.
No.
That's how I feel. That's a good thing.
I'm
It's
an
a
old
good thing to
man
learn.
too. You got to keep in mind. I mean, I've been doing this a long time.
Right.
After this, I'll be taking my prune juice and my nap. I'm retired now.
So I want to ask you this. There's been something going around the net, a quesadilla sandwich, and basically it's a sandwich where it's almost like it has compartments. It's like different type of areas.
Like the
of
quadrants.
It almost looks like an apartment building sandwich. Like it's just different type of spots.
Here's the deal, and I don't want to pop anybody's bubble.
Uh-oh.
And I see people taking credit for this on social media, on food social media. Food Beast, Tasty, some of these other videos, people jumping up. Here's the deal. Carl Ruiz, who we lost last year, was a big name in the food world. He was on Food Network. He's a big-time Jersey guy. Tremendous talent, 25-plus years. He saw one of those videos last year where somebody decides to throw out the quesadilla, do 4 things, fold it up, and throw it on a plancha or a panini press for people who don't know what a plancha is, right?
Yeah.
And people were claiming they'd invented that. In a DM conversation him and I had, he said to me, 20 years ago, bodegas in New York were trying to find a way to make quesadillas portable. So they'd fold them and fold them again, stick them under the plancha for a minute, and this way people could eat them like a slice of pizza.
25 years ago?
By folding them in a circle in quarters.
Wow.
So my point is, I don't want to take anything away. If people are getting over with this thing, if somebody's floating their food truck or their bar, good on you.
Yeah.
I just want to let people know, one of the messages in my own shows, I've had a few shows on, my message is nobody's inventing anything. People are rediscovering stuff.
Sure.
These viral quesadillas are the same thing, right? I'm watching a video of these viral quesadillas, and I'm nodding and nodding and nodding. 15 years ago, I'm in Ybor City, Florida, where I'm helping my brother-in-law put together a food truck. We went into a Cuban bar, killer place. They had something called Cuban quesadillas. And I'm like, what the hell am I looking at here? She's like, trust me, just get it, fellas. I'm like, okay. It's essentially the viral quesadilla. Ooh, You've got, everybody's ever had a Cubano, you know, it's deli ham, Swiss cheese, usually roast pork. I see some people doing it with shredded chicken, but don't do that. And I watch her do it.
Yeah.
And I watch her do it. And I watch her bring the quesadilla over. You know, she kind of puts it on a plancha, flips it, puts it on a plancha, presses it down with a pan, takes it off, brings it over to me and my brother-in-law at the bar.
Right.
And it's essentially a viral quesadilla. It's just this technique of looking at a round shape, almost like a pizza. They're doing it with pizzas now, too. I'm sure you guys have hit joints where they're doing a quarter pepperoni, a quarter sausage.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, half peppers and onions, and you kind of get this weird geometry project. It looks cool, and it's fun.
Right.
But it's not brand new.
Right. So
you know what I mean? I hate popping people's bubbles with it, but I don't like the fact when somebody jumps up and takes credit for something that somebody was doing 20 years ago, whether it be Hong Kong street food or, you know what I mean, down in Panama Beach, Florida, back in the day when it was the top spring break crew. I was watching people do spam musubi, which my friend Kiki Arenada does with her restaurant and for that food cart, Poi Dog. There was like two ladies on there screaming about how they invented rice and spam. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, right.
Well, like you said, you worded it best. People are rediscovering it rather than inventing it. So before we get into the meat and bones of why we got you here for some blasphemous food things, there's one more viral thing that came across my timeline that popped up, and a lot of people were telling me it would give them heartburn. I care less about what the heartburn I would get and more about what it would taste going into my face.
Yes.
And that is buffalo wing crust pizza. Now, I just assume, like, just knowing how the structure of a slice of pizza and a buffalo wing is, that can't hold together very well. But am I incorrect with thinking that? And is this something that I should be looking at more closely to add into my diet repertoire?
The short answer is no.
Okay.
The long answer is a little. I'm sorry, it is. And again,
that's why I like the honesty.
People are getting over with this, but see, here's the problem. Anybody who's worked in a pizza shop or worked with pizza dough, whatever, knows you got to be real careful, because the second you put something on the dough, you affect the cooking time and technique of the dough. So when people are dropping hot wings, which are wet, on pizza dough, which is wet, and throwing it in a flat oven, it's not a convection oven, let's be honest. They're just throwing them in pizza ovens. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to wind up picking up that wing and there's raw dough underneath.
Right.
Oh.
Or they're going to have to cook it longer so the wing is dry and the dough is overcooked. Everything tastes like Bertucci's pizza. It's burned and raw at the same time. Nobody knows how they do that. But I'm sorry, it's true. You get a Bertucci's pizza, comes to the bar, and you're looking at it, and it's singed at the edges, and, you know, I got raw dough underneath.
So I got duped by the picture,
so
guys.
I'm going to say here's the deal. There's a way to get this flavor. And I understand people do things. I'm friends with Mike, the guy that created Tony Bologna. He's the guy that did the taco pizza a couple of years ago. He's got a shop in Hoboken, New Jersey. He's got a shop in Atlantic City. He does a lot of things for shock value, for the gram, right?
Yeah. Okay,
However, there's a way to get the flavors you want and be able to get this thing home or pick it up and eat it without a knife and a fork and a plate and a bib and your guests looking like they're guest stars in an episode of Dexter. You know what I mean? You got to keep in mind, especially we're talking about the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about playoff football. We're talking about people are coming over to your place. This year might be a little different, but generally speaking, people are coming over to have a good time. They don't want to have to wear like drop cloth to come to your house.
Right.
And when you start doing stuff like, the Philly taco, right? It's a thing. Have you ever seen somebody eat it? And I'm not talking about that 82-pound girl who eats it in the Tasty video. I'm talking about real people.
No. I've never
seen. If you've seen a real person eat a Philly taco, they're drunk.
Right.
It's 1 a.m. They're eating it off the hood of their truck, and their clothes look like a crime scene.
Fact.
Right.
Most of it's on the most of it is on the sidewalk of South Street.
Yes.
Yeah, and everybody's laughing and having a good time because you've had 11 beers, and that's great.
Right.
I don't want to be like the old man telling people get off my lawn. I just want you to get off my lawn with that crap food. You're bringing something good, pull up a chair and stay.
Right.
I love it.
And I hate to say it, but if you really decide you need buffalo wing flavor on a pizza, there's a couple different ways to do that. You can go stromboli. Ooh. You can go stuffed pizza. A buddy of mine up the street from my house in Delran, he's won Best of South Jersey pizza like 4 or 5 times in a row. Pizza More is the name of it. He's been doing a buffalo stuffed pizza for like 4 years. He does like 20 of them on Super Bowl Sunday.
I like it.
I'm here for
it. Listen, I gotta ask you a question.
The crusts. Sure.
So I need you to settle something for me in my household. We're talking about pizza right now.
I'll try.
Yeah, we're talking about pizza right now, and I'm calling my queen out because my queen.
Oh no.
My queen and her sisters do something. Well, her sister, not both of them. The other one thinks it's disgusting too. She takes her pizza and she dips it in ranch. Like here's how I feel about pizza. I feel like pizza has flavor enough to stand on its own. Why are you bringing a condiment into your pizza life? It literally makes me angry. Now, am I wrong here? Am I wrong?
No. And here's the deal: you're going to wind up sleeping on my lawn because she'll hear this show in my couch. Actually,
I'm probably going to
she'll be
text in the next
throwing
5
your
minutes.
ass out in a little bit.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: if you have flavorless dough, and there are pizza shops out there and national pizza chains out there that are basically using edible Play-Doh. They're distributing it to their locations. They're putting it in an easy bake oven. Yeah. They're calling it pizza, and they're sending it to you.
Pizza Play-Doh, wow.
Slap-a-mominos or whatever you want to call it. This is terrible food.
Right.
This is terrible food.
Right.
I get if you have a terrible anything,
right.
You're dipping it in ranch sauce or whatever to choke it down.
Ooh, yeah.
However, there are ways, again, where if you want these flavors – I'm an older person. I tend to be a pizza purist, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of pineapple on pizza.
Me neither.
We're going to get into a food felony in a minute that they're doing with pizza right now. It makes me feel anger towards this when they do that. I'm kind of like a sausage, peppers, pepperoni type guy.
Speak my language. You're a
ranch
traditionalist.
has no place here at pizza.
Facts only.
It just doesn't. I'm sorry.
Talking to you, Amber. Keep the ranch away from the pizza.
Amber, I'm sorry. I've judged a lot of food competitions. I've been in a lot of food competitions. If someone hands me a little plastic cup of ranch, and it's not even real ranch, it's always some crap in a bottle with stuff you can't produce, and they tell you it's a stabilizer. Well, wait a minute. Why does it need to be stabilized?
Right.
It's a sauce. I'm eating it. I'm not putting it in my car. None of that stuff should be near your food. I'm sorry. Just none of that stuff should be near your food.
All right. I feel better now.
Whenever I hear about ranch on pizza, I think about like endless drunk nights in college of watching people just stumble down the street with dollar slices of pizza and whole plates full of ranch.
Yeah.
Terrible.
You know what? After, and I, like I said, I'm not that old. What you eat after 11 beers or 37 bong rips, I get it. I totally understand. You know what I mean?
You're right.
But when you're talking about being level-headed and sitting down and ordering food, and you're talking about deep-fried liverwurst calzone, I need to stop you. No. I
told Amber if we ever go
putting grape jelly on pork roll and cheese. Stop that.
I told Amber if we ever go to Brooklyn and you put ranch on the pizza, I'm literally standing up and walking out. I will not be a part of it.
You know what's super funny? I'm over in South Philly, and people know from following me on social media, I'm friends with Tony Luke Jr. We occasionally go over to a place called Franco Luigi's and get pizza after Frankie closes the doors. I mentioned to him that people are dipping pizza dough in ranch dressing and in other dressings. He looked at me like Clint Eastwood in that GIF right before he shoots the young kids in his neighborhood. And I'm like, oh, Frankie, I'm just talking here. I'm just talking. This is how angry this man felt. He's been in the business for 40 years. And I got to be the one to break it to him that people are dipping pizza crust in ranch dressing. He's like, what? The wife,
why?
Literally, his wife blessed herself and walked into the other room. She didn't even want to be in the room when I talked about this. So no, I had this conversation on one of my own shows. Somebody calls in and says, "Oh, the move is grape jelly on pork roll, egg, and cheese." And I wasn't even going to put that on the air, but I thought, you know what? Go ahead. And I put it on the air. I let the person call in. I said, "Thank you for your contribution." I hang up the phone. I said, and we just went off. And I was like, I felt bad. I shouldn't use that word. That wasn't appropriate or whatever. But I was like, what are you doing? You're literally bringing home your pork roll, egg, and cheese, and you open your cabinet and you think, how can I screw this up?
Right. How can I make this terrible?
And that's exactly what they do. And he's like, oh, sometimes I use strawberry jelly, but usually grape. I mean, think about it. You get a pork roll, egg, and cheese in the morning, you open it up, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the sweet goes with the salty. Yeah, if you're 5.
Right.
My godson loves deli on everything, but, when he's a grown man, no.
Right.
That was funny. I laughed.
So Amber, don't do those things.
Now let's get into the big reason why we got you here. You're known on Twitter as being the food guy who calls out the nonsense. So it's only appropriate that we have you.
I didn't plan on it, but somebody had to do it.
Oh, I mean, like if the shoe fits, you must wear it, right?
Right.
So. What's on J. Cole's food felony right now?
Here we go. A long time ago, I used to be when Comcast first started doing chat rooms and stuff like that. AOL, Yahoo. It was like 15 years ago. I used to have a chat room called the Meal Heel, where I would shoot on terrible food trends. And I kind of moved away from that because I wanted to be more positive. I realized running down people's food, that's what Yelp is. And those people, not my people. Let's put it that way. However, the last few years, things have cropped up that are so grievous to me, so offensive. I almost feel like I got to tap into that, Meal Heel DNA a little bit. Pineapple on pizza is a joke, but I get it. The Hawaiian pie isn't going away. So we have to sort of find a peace with it, even though we don't have it in our own homes. This week, and probably the last 2 weeks, I've been seeing this picture floating around. And essentially, people are saying, banana on pizza or nah? With a hideous photo of slices of banana.
No.
Not even like plantains, turning it into like a tasty Puerto Rican mofongo pizza. No. Just slices of banana.
No.
Yeah.
Like tossed in caramel and dumped on a pizza. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I do a little research. People are doing it. People are putting banana on French bread pizzas and bagel pizzas. And I'm like, Where do we draw the line of madness?
With marinara and mozzarella cheese?
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not talking about dessert pizzas, If you decide to do a Bananas Foster dessert pizza, good, man. I hope you get $22 for that. But, no, it's like red sauce, cheese. I saw one that looked like it had pepperoni, and between the pieces of pepperoni is banana and caramel sauce.
Just the thought of that makes me want to throw up. Like, just the thinking about that makes me want to throw up.
Well, here's the problem right away I see with this, and you correct me if I'm wrong. So with pizza, with the mozzarella and the marinara, it's more of a, for lack of better words, like a mushier kind of consistency in your mouth. Mm-hmm. So banana is the same consistency. Yeah. That's why pepperoni and sausage work so well, because it gives you the firmness with the mushiness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, it absolutely does. That's why years ago I started putting salami on pizza.
Yeah.
The slices of salami.
I see that.
Help the structural integrity, so you can walk around the house with a slice of pizza.
Way better term than mushy, structural integrity. Way better term.
Well, no, it is though. It's the truth. And then bananas, and I'm just like, we're like a week away from maraschino cherries on a cheesesteak, and I'm like, part of me doesn't want to be the bad guy. Part of me wants to be one of these happy, these happy foodies where I go out there and say, do whatever you want and go insane. See, here's the problem. You create terrible food, you've wasted your money.
Yeah.
Because you take a bite and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Chocolate pudding doesn't go with pork chops at all.
No.
It's one and then the other.
However, applesauce.
You know what I mean? I don't care if you have your pudding for dessert. God bless. But you know what I mean? When I see people, well, how about we substitute the gravy for Nutella? What?
Yeah, no.
That was another thing I saw, and I let it slide. It was one of these things where I saw it in the car. My wife looks at me last year, and she goes, please let it slide. We're on a road trip to South Carolina. She's like, if you start now, I'm just going to crash the car. But sure enough, it was essentially pot roast, right out of the slow cooker, drizzled with Nutella.
No,
wow.
That's not right.
And there was in this video, the numbers on these videos, 400,000 views, a zillion likes, some very young, attractive person pops a bite in their mouth and gives it a thumbs up. And I'm like, hey, look, you know what? We live in the age of OnlyFans. People do whatever they have to do to make money. I get it. No worries.
Right.
However, it's only fans, not only pans. That doesn't mean you have to put all kinds of crap in a dish and eat it and smile. And I don't want to take up your show. I'm sure you guys have a lot to get to. But I'm just going to say
listen,
this.
I'm thoroughly entertained.
First,
I'm enthralled by this segment.
First, chances are you didn't invent anything, right?
Right.
Maybe the cronut guy will give a credit for. Everyone else, you didn't invent anything. You just found something from another part of the world or another time, and you brought it here. Now, if you get over with that and make money, awesome. But please do me a favor. Don't take credit for inventing the sunny side up egg. Just stop with that.
Right.
Second, table nachos. Be prepared. Table nachos is high risk, high reward. Let's put it in a Super Bowl context.
Yeah.
Table nachos are high risk, high reward. People come to the house, they look and they see table nachos. They know you're not to be messed with.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
They know.
I like that.
However, you get someone, we're basically working with a safety net here. If there's no bowls, there's no plates, people are just coming on over and grabbing nachos and having a good time.
Yeah.
You have to know your audience. You have to know the market. You have to know who's there. You have 5 or 6 people come in that will help you finish off the keg. Things are going to get messy.
Right.
Now, if you're okay with that, awesome. But if you're not okay with that, I would strongly recommend drop cloth under the table.
Facts only.
And definitely don't do it on a carpet.
Because you know as well as I do. That's another thing. Don't do it on a carpet because you know as well as I do. Someone's going to get drunk, and they're going to try to go into the chili con queso with a chip.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to have a bad time. I love it. J. Cohl, John Cohl. Follow him on Twitter at J_Cohl, COHL.
Cohl.
Thank you for jumping on with us. We will talk to you
next
week.
I appreciate it for having me, guys. I really do. I mean, I love the show. You know what I mean? I'm glad. Give me a ring back if you need me for something.
Definitely look forward
We'll see
to
next
talking to you next
Monday.
week.
And Amber, no rant, please. I'm begging
No
Amber,
rant.
don't do that.
Love it. Appreciate it. And we will be talking to you shortly.
All right, listen, that was thoroughly entertaining. I can't wait for the next weeks and months to be educated and given full knowledge. Like, I feel like a food idiot right now. But that's okay.
That was hilarious.
That's okay. Like,
See, the thing is, that's exactly what I was hoping that we'd get out of it, and I love it.
You look at the.
Love it.
Uh-oh.
Love it.
Uh-oh. I just got a text.
I
feel like
we'll go to break.
I feel like this is from Amber.
We'll get addressed this on the other side. Brad and Emery in the morning. Taking a quick break. We'll be back after this.
Yeah, man. Welcome back, Brad in the morning. Marques, Brown, Justin Emery.
Yo.
So
Dude, that was hilarious.
that was
awesome.
that was so much fun. I can't wait to talk to J. Cohl more. And next week, I'm gonna give you a little teaser because I have a huge gripe with Pennsylvania and the way they do buffalo wings.
Oh,
I need a ruling on that. We're gonna have to get into that and talk about the construction of buffalo wings in our state. But I want to get into back in the championship Sunday.
yes, absolutely. We got to dive into the first game.
We got to get
And
into the first game.
Here's
There's
the funny
there's
thing
a lot
is,
to talk about.
You said, you had mentioned earlier in the show that this was the game that caught your attention more, whereas I actually stopped watching this game at one point in time because it lost my attention.
Okay.
So
let's start here. I thought this game was over after the first drives from both teams. I immediately announced the game done. I'm gonna explain. So I don't understand. I'm gonna start here. I don't understand for the life of me if you're the Green Bay Packers and why in the world you would allow Tampa Bay to start with the ball. Now, I understand. I get the logic normally of what you do. You want to get the ball to start second half, and you're betting on the fact that, you're hoping your defense gets stopped that first possession, and you're hoping, you can maybe get the ball before the half and then after the half for that point sandwich, where you score at the end of the half and then you get the ball again in the second half score. I agree with all of that. But sometimes you have to understand the moment. and understand what this game truly means. You're playing against one of the greatest winners we've ever seen. You're playing against the GOAT, the winningest quarterback in the history of football. You're playing against a guy who is a notorious closer and who has been here 44 times. He's 33-11 in the playoffs overall in his career. Been to 9 Super Bowls going in this game. Why would you allow him to start with the football? If I'm Green Bay, we win the toss. Oh, we're taking the ball because we want to set the pace. We're not going to let you set the pace in our house. We're not doing that. I looked over at Amber. I said, if Tampa Bay scores on this drive, this game is all about over. So they go down the field, they score, and then I texted you.
Yeah, you did.
And I said, this is the most important drive of Aaron Rodgers' career right now. And I'm sure a lot of people will be like, what are you talking about? It's the first drive of the game.
I looked at it. I'll be honest with you. I straight looked at it and was like, they must be drinking over there. I literally was like, they must be drinking over there.
But now I'm going to explain that statement more. Like
it was like 14 minutes left in the game.
Exactly.
In the first quarter.
In the first quarter, right.
Yeah.
But, again, it's all about the pace and who you're playing and the circumstances. You are a guy, you haven't been here nearly as much. You've had an MVP season. You are at home at the NFC Championship game. It's money time. Mm-hmm. And what do? 3 and out.
Fall
that
flat.
For me, right there, that was it for me. That's all I need to see to know how the rest of the afternoon was going to go. Now moving forward into the half, Brady played a great first half. He looked great. And I think about the Bucs offense, the way they've played the past couple weeks. The offense has been very Patriot-like. Arians' offense,
it's chucked down the field.
It was risky for the biscuit. It was we're Brady taking 7-step drops.
Like Bruce Arians coaches a NFL game like he's playing Madden.
Right, but like what J. Cohl was talking about, he's one of those coaches that coaches like that. But they've been very Patriot-like for the past 2 weeks. The way they've ran their offense, they've been very, I wouldn't say conservative, but listen, one of the biggest allies of Tom Brady's career has been the check down. Brady loves his check down.
Oh, yeah.
He loves having that option, and Arians wasn't giving him that option early in the year. It was, no, I want you to go down the field. And Brady will do that. He'll take his shots, but he likes to be strategic when he takes his shots. You're seeing that now, the way they're playing football. That's how they're playing now. And the first half, they move the ball. The Packers do come back. They do eventually score. By that point, the momentum was all on the side of the Bucs. Then you get to before halftime. And that's where things get – that's where we go down here. Aaron Rodgers makes the first big mistake of the game. He's thrown down the seam, bad throw, throws it inside, interception. Right? Interception. So then you give it to the Bucs. You're at midfield. You don't have a lot of time left. It's 4th and 2 with about 16 seconds left.
Yeah. Conventional
wisdom says, let's punt the ball. They'll kneel. We'll go to halftime. We're up right now already anyway. We're sitting on 14-10. We're okay. We're in good shape. Is that what they do? No, because I go back to the first game. This is how championship football works. You go for it when you can. You make the plays when you can. And it never is a good thing to be conservative in big moments like this, because it always comes back to bite you in the ass.
It does.
And so here you're at midfield. Now, listen, I didn't see this play coming at all. I thought there was 6 seconds left. I'm thinking they're going to do a little quick out route, get a couple more yards, we'll kick a field goal, we'll be up 17-10 at halftime. Brady drops back. And I don't know what the Packers were doing, because again, you don't allow someone behind you in the circumstance. So I don't know how this even happened in the first place. I don't know if he just misjudged Scotty Miller's speed or was just confused because they had no idea that's how the Bucs were going to play. But Brady throws a beautiful ball like he did. I mean, he was throwing some frisbees in the first half.
Yeah, he was.
Like he was throwing the ball beautifully in the first half. Throws a bomb, a dart to Scotty Miller. And now the foot is on the throat. Now we're looking at 21. Now we're looking at 21-10 going to halftime, and the doubt is fully engaged at halftime. But this is all, to me, goes back to how the game started. You don't let Tom Brady come into your stadium and give him the ball first. You don't do that. This is a bad decision. So you have that aspect of it. So you're going to halftime, you're feeling bad about yourself. It's 21-10. Yeah, we're getting the ball to start the second half. We're down by 11. So now we're out of our game plan now. Then what do? You come out of halftime, you fumble the ball. Huge no. And then you lose your running back for the rest of the game on that fumble because Aaron Jones gets hurt, which may be – we'll talk about the future of the Green Bay Packers a little bit later.
Yeah,
but
this may be the break. Yeah.
This might be his last game as a Packer.
It could be. There could be a lot of players who it's their last game.
There's a lot of dominoes that could fall. So you have that incident.
Yeah, and then is that, and then you also have. We'll get into the officiating too on the other side.
Yeah,
because we are on very different sides of this argument. Now, the thing is, but for two different reasons. Right? I don't think that we're fundamentally on different sides because of our disagreements on the actual objectivity of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're in disagreements because of the ancillary circumstances.
Right.
And we'll get into that on the other side of the break.
Yep.
It's a quick break, short little segment there. Brad and Memory in the morning. We'll be right back after this. Catch you on the other side.
Yeah, man. Welcome back. Brad Emery Morning, Marcus Bradham, Justin Emery.
Almost didn't make it back there.
Yeah, I was getting concerned too. I was like, I have no idea how to work any of these things. So.
No, it's cool. We
I was sitting there like,
just had Niagara Falls go on. So
yeah, we'll see.
That's what happens when. Well, that's what happens when you suck down like 3 water bottles in the first hour of the show.
Right.
So
back in.
We're back.
So back into Packers Bucks. So we're just after
man.
halftime now. The fumble takes place. Now you're giving Brady a short field. He's gonna cut it through it off. Now it's 28-10, and it's just not looking good. The Packers put up a violent effort. They try to come back. Now here's where the fourth quarter is where all the drama kind of takes place. The Packers get within 28-23.
Yes.
And they do that late third quarter. They're sitting on 23 for the rest of the game.
So one of my biggest issues with the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I did not think Matt LaFleur coached a very good game in this.
Not even a little bit.
So I think that it was highly suspect across many, many different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
But where I think he lost the game is when he went for it for 2 instead of kicking the field goal to make it 28-24. Now, I understand mathematically going 28 to 25 is, that's what the numbers tell you to do.
Right.
But I would not have done, you put the extra point up because you don't know what will happen.
Right.
Fast forward to later in the game, what happens? They're down by 8 with the ball, driving in the game.
Right.
And your entire mindset is different.
Instead of being down 7.
And you're going, okay, I'm going in here to tie. Kick a field, go in there, score a touchdown, extra point, tie game. You're now going into it thinking, okay, I have to go, touchdown, go for 2 just to tie the game. It's a completely different mental outlook. And I said it when I was watching it,
mm-hmm.
that he's calling the game differently, being down by 8 rather than down by 7. I understand it's still one possession, but you're calling the game differently because on that touchdown, say you scored, obviously they didn't score the touchdown, but say you score that touchdown,
right.
Your best play of the entire season is what you run at that 2-point conversion.
Right.
That is your best play in your playbook is what you run on that 2-point conversion. However, you have to save it for the 2-point conversion. So
right.
you can't bust that play out earlier in the drive.
Right.
And I think the game was lost when I think his name is St. Brown is the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
When he dropped that 2-point conversion, that's when the game was lost.
And
not because it was obviously it was a drop play, you lost 2 points. But that was the wrong they should have kicked the field goal or the extra point there any point in time. I don't care what it is. You have Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
It's a little bit different with the Bills game when they were playing because Josh Allen's a very good player, but he's not Patrick Mahomes is elite. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen's very good, but he can't hang out. He does when you're in the cafeteria, Josh Allen can't sit at that table.
Not at that table yet. No.
But Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady can sit at the same table. So on the NFC side, you're looking at oh man, I'm staring down the barrel at Tom Brady, but you got AR-12 in your back pocket too. So it's not like you don't have somebody as well. And I would have kicked the extra point. I would have just kicked the extra point.
And that
you got more game to play.
That being said, you are really a Sue fingernail from converting that play. Because the ball was just ever so slightly tipped, and it kind of changed the trajectory a little bit. What I imagine happening is because Aaron Rodgers throws fastballs, we all know. So I'm sure he's putting that thing on a rope, so it hits the finger. It speeds it up even more towards you. The trajectory changed. It still was on course. Aaron Rodgers throws the ball so well that even a tip ball still didn't change his course.
Yeah.
But the trajectory of it changes where it kind of flutters a little bit, and that's where the drop I think came from.
And I want to get into the infamous field goal
mm-hmm.
instead of going for it on 4th. The real play that screwed up was that 3rd down when Rodgers did not run it in.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Now, I actually think
Amber even said that. Amber said, well, he could have ran that in. And I mean, I know that, I think for him, because here's the thing, even if you don't score there, you're now looking at 4th and goal from the 2 opposed to 4th and goal from the 8.
Yeah.
That's a very
maybe even
different,
the 1.
Right. That's a very different set of circumstances. And I agree with you. And I said,
and I think he may have even been able to run it on 2nd down.
Yeah.
Third down, he had a lane.
After they didn't put it in on 2nd down, I was like, this is not happening. Because here's the thing is, when you're down the goal line, your best 2 options are 1st, 2nd down. Because they're interchangeable. You can do multiple things. You can run the ball. You can throw the ball. You can play action. You can roll out. 3rd down, we know what you're doing. 4th down, we kind of know what you're doing. We know what you're doing too.
Yeah.
So 1st and 2nd down are your best options where the entire playbook is available. Let's get creative. Let's get weird. And when they didn't make it happen on those 2 plays, I was like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
We've now shrunk the playbook now. They're not going to make this happen. Now, I was personally surprised by them not – because, again, I go back to early in the game when you start with Brady with the ball. So you're telling me you think the best option is to kick a field goal now and give it back to the most notorious closer in the history of football? Why would you think that even – and I agree with everything you said about the point difference and how he's coaching. It's still wrong no matter what. You have to try there. You have to. Because I'm not gonna say, all right, I'm gonna hope my defense can hold them and they won't get 2 first downs. I'm not playing that game with Tom Brady. No way. There's no way I'm doing that. I got Aaron Rodgers over here. Aaron Rodgers, 4th and goal. I'm gonna take my best shot here. I'm gonna see what we do, because listen, if something bad happens there, you don't convert it, okay, but at least we tried. I got Aaron Rodgers, and what are you saying to Aaron Rodgers? I don't trust you. I don't trust you to make the right decision here. That's what really you're saying. I trust my defense more than Aaron Rodgers. 51 total TDs this year, MVP year. Absolutely not. No, we're going right now. Right now, we're putting it all out here right now. You had to do that. I thought that was the wrong call altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to. I mean, I would have went for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, when you have a player like Aaron Rodgers gives you so much flexibility, because, and we'll get into this I'm sure in a few minutes.
Is it fair to say Aaron Rodgers has the best pocket presence and awareness that we've ever seen? The way he dances around the pocket.
I'm not sure that I've seen better.
Someone who can dance around in the pocket and create lanes better than Aaron Rodgers. Like, one of the best things he does is buys time. Because listen, as a defensive back, you cannot cover a guy for 5 seconds. You just can't do that.
Yeah,
it's impossible. Because then it turns into playground football.
Yeah, it turns into
where
jailbreak.
you're just running back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Rodgers puts that kind of pressure on cornerbacks and safeties, and so so you have that as your option. Okay, worst case scenario, if this breaks out, I can count on Rodgers to make a play. Do you remember that throw he made against the Cowboys a couple years ago to put him in field goal range, where he's rolling out, and he throws the ball 40 yards to the sideline on a dime? Like, this is the kind of plays he can make. He's that dynamic as a playmaker. So I just don't understand for the life of me why you thought that kicking a field goal there was the thing to do. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, if we're just being honest.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur. We're going to get into this a little bit later. Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers has always kind of had a kind of a goofy relationship. It's been better this year. They've been winning.
We got some audio from Rodgers himself
on that decision.
On the decision to go for it, or to kick a field goal rather than go for it on 4th down.
Aaron, did you agree with the decision to kick it there on 4th down?
Well, I didn't have a decision on that one. That wasn't my decision. But I understand the thinking above 2 minutes with all of our timeouts. But, that wasn't my decision.
Now, if you this is radio, so you can't see his face, but I watched that clip. He was in pain.
Yeah,
he was in pain. He almost right there.
He's literally there just so he doesn't get fined.
Right.
He doesn't want to be there.
You look at his face there, completely dejected, understandably so. But he has that reaction, and he's trying not to throw Matt LaFleur completely under the bus. He kind of does, but he also said, "Well, I kind of understand." He doesn't understand. That's not what he wanted.
Well, I mean, listen, there's logic behind why Matt LaFleur did what he did. Now, whether you agree with that logic or not, that's up for debate. But there's a basis of reason behind his argument. It's just that no one happens to agree with his basis of argument.
What makes you feel better? And we're gonna just assume they score.
Yeah,
they score, get 2-point conversion. What makes you feel better? We're down 31-23 with a chance for the Bucs to close this out, or the game's tied at 31. We're trying to get to overtime. What makes you feel better as a person, as a fan?
I mean, both. I mean,
I don't feel good about 31-23 because even
no, but I'm saying I'd feel better if you went for it,
right,
rather than going to 31 to 26.
But my point of that is,
I mean, obviously, I'd rather have it 31s.
Right, because what happened? Because now,
but if if I'm a Packers fan,
yeah,
I'm sitting here today feeling like I got cheated because you didn't even give me the chance to see if it would have been 31-31. You just went and made it 31-26. Now, I actually heard on my way over here this guy on the radio in his block pool had 1-6 and won $5 grand. So my hat's off to that guy.
Good job by him.
Congratulations to you, sir. You're very happy.
Yes.
But you're in the vast minority group for that.
Right.
Like I said, if I'm
our center Joel Embiid was not happy.
Yes.
He was an unhappy man.
What is up with him and the Packers? Like, why is he
the Packers are a team that a lot of Packers have a weird celebrity found. They're almost like a Cowboys Junior.
Are they?
Where
okay.
you got Embiid, the Packers guy, Lil Wayne's the Packers guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, I understand why. I understand why Lil Wayne's a Packers guy though, because that comes from when
drinking lean.
No, when he was when he was a kid, all the there was a lot of Super Bowls played in the Superdome. Mm-hmm. Packers would play Super Bowls in the Superdome, and that's what he was introduced to.
He didn't have a father. That's the problem. It's bad parenting. You don't do that. Like I hate kids that say, "Oh, you know, I saw the star on the helmet and I fell in love." Where was your father? Where was your dad? Because you're in my house, we live here. We root for our home team. We don't root against our home teams.
Now,
we don't do that.
What is it if you're from somewhere else? Like you're born and raised somewhere else. What's the ruling on that?
And you move here?
Yeah, like say
you got to be loyal there.
That's what
you got to be now.
So for example, say someone moved here from Dallas, born and raised in Dallas.
You're a Cowboys fan. I respect that.
Okay.
I totally respect that. You should. You don't betray. Like if I move to California, I'm an Eagles guy. I'm a Philadelphia sports fan.
When I lived in Vegas,
yeah,
there was a bar, Torrey Pines Pub. If you told me that bar
right.
was in South Philadelphia, I'd believe you.
Yeah, but I think it says something about your character when you do that. Like I really do. Like you. Why would you? I never got the concept of rooting against your own community. I don't understand why you want to see people in your own community unhappy. I don't understand.
I'm about to name drop and throw friend of the show under the bus. Friend of the show, future guest on the show. I'm throwing him under the bus right now, though.
Oh, let's do it.
And he's a very good guy. Everybody that speaks to him have nothing but positive things to say about him. But one of the good, Pastor Carl.
Yeah,
He is a huge Cowboys fan. Now, that's fine. That's not his logic behind being a Cowboys fan is what is flawed.
Okay.
He purposely chose a team outside of the city because he wanted to root for an outsider, and he just happened to choose the Cowboys.
Come on, Pastor. That ain't right.
Because I remember one time watching him debate with somebody online who was another Philadelphia-based Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
And that person was like, you know what? The Eagles are winning this. Maybe I should just come and root for the home. Maybe I'm the idiot.
Right.
And he said, if you're going to give up when times are hard, what's the perks and what's the benefit then of wanting to root for an outside market team? And I was just like, with all due respect, Pastor, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what do you mean?
So,
well, when we get Pastor Carl in here, that will definitely be a conversation.
We can discuss that. He hosts a football podcast.
Okay,
so he's very much open to the.
Yeah, we'll definitely be under that dialogue.
I remember talking to him one time. I was like, you should definitely trademark Pastor Football.
Yeah.
I was like, you can equally sit there and discuss in depth both things of Scripture and all 22 film.
Yes. So let's get into our disagreement of the call.
Okay. Well, first we got one more clip from Aaron Rodgers, real quick, discussing
about the future,
about his future potentially with the.
Let's save that for a second because I want to use that because I want to get into a discussion about Aaron Rodgers' legacy.
Okay.
And what that's going to look like. So let's save that for a minute. Let's talk about the call.
Okay.
All right. So
the pass interference call against the Packers late in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Now, I have to preface this by saying that it was a penalty. Okay, I don't want anybody to misconstrue my point here that it was not. It was a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to make sure that's known first out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm not calling that penalty because it has been chippy all game. You've been letting hand checks go all game. Now, you've been doing it on both sides. That's why I'm not complaining.
Right.
But there is no difference between that play that occurred there and the hold that happened on Davante Adams on third down on the previous drive in the end zone for the Packers. They're the same exact play. And if they were throwing that flag all game long, you're not getting a peep out of me. But there is at least a half a dozen instances throughout the course of that game of that same exact penalty occurring. Like I said, one of them being in the end zone on third down, which would have given the Packers a 1st and goal at the 1 that didn't get a flag. Now, that's why I'm doing it, is that you have to be consistent across the board, and you can't decide that under 60 seconds we're going to just start throwing the flags because you set the precedent from earlier in the game. Now, had you set it where this was going to be a highly officiated game, I would not be complaining. But you did not do that and then decided that at the absolute most impactful point of the game, you decided to insert yourself as a headline.
So I agree with a lot of what you just said there.
But like I said in the very beginning, I want to preface it by saying, yes,
Yeah.
it was a penalty.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of what you just said there. I'm going to look at it from a referee perspective. I think when you get down to the goal line in those situations, it's a lot more difficult to have – you don't see a lot of pass interference in the red zone. And the reason why you don't is because it's a tighter area. It's not enough.
Well,
it's not a lot of separation.
Also,
so when you had Adams, he didn't create the element of separation. So the illusion is that
it was the same. Now I understand they called that pass interference.
Yeah,
they could have easily called it
holding.
that holding.
Right. You see more You do see more holdings than pass interference down there.
Now, but so as far as what it was called pass interference. You could have called it holding if you wanted. Really, the only difference was the ball in the air. That's the only real discrepancy between the two. But the actual penalized act of grabbing the jersey happened so many uncalled times.
Right.
Now, for the sake of this particular argument, I don't care if it was holding or pass interference. The only difference between the two of those things is had the quarterback already thrown the ball or not. That's the only difference.
So
the actual holding act occurred so many times, specifically on the left shoulder of Davante Adams when he cut from right to left on a slant pattern on the goal line.
So I argue there the separation aspect of it was an issue, I feel, down that close. My other argument is
he was wide open.
So what ends up happening is when a game like this is whether it's right or whether it's wrong, referees are human. They referee with momentum the same way players and fans look at momentum. So what you have here is you have the Packers don't have momentum on their side. The Buccaneers do. So you're seeing things lean that way, and human nature tells you, whether it's right or wrong, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I'm here to tell you probably how they were looking at it. The refs looking at it like the momentum's all the way over here on this side. This is where we're going to go because of that momentum. And you're going to see, listen, in a basketball game, a football game, whatever, you're going to see a lot more calls in the last 2 minutes probably than you will for the rest of the game just because things get extra chippy. Now, I will say that game yesterday was unusual because in the NFL you usually see a lot of flags. Yesterday, I loved it, though. It was like none. It was a very clean game up until those couple of calls. But you saw the clear separation from the Bucs. And you saw the fact that, like, if if he's not grabbed there, that's probably a touchdown. He's probably going to go down, but he's going to the end zone. So that was a clear he's going to score. You stopped him from scoring. It's almost like a fast break in basketball where you have what's the rule? The clear path rule.
Yeah.
That's almost what it was, what they were kind of calling. They don't have that rule in football, obviously, but that's kind of what it was. And Green Bay did this to themselves by not having the momentum on their side, in my opinion.
I mean, I hear everything you say, but I'm still disagreeing with you.
Well, I disagree with you.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Talking about a clear path and all that.
Yeah.
You know what's wild? This is really unrelated, but the NFC title game where Rondé Barber's running the interception back.
Oh.
Ike Reese has joked.
Made me sad again.
Ike Reese has joked before. He was like, "What if I just stepped off the sideline and lit him up?" He's like, "There's no clear path." He's like, yeah, they eject me out of the game, but
yeah, what do you do there?
I have no clue. But
that's interesting because he's probably gonna get fined, suspended, and all of that stuff. But what do you do there? Wow, that's interesting.
He was like, "What?" He's like, "I was a special teamer." He was like,
"There probably should be a clear path rule in the NFL."
He was like, "What if hypothetically the Deshaun Jackson punt return in New York? Somebody's runs along the sideline and hits him and knocks him down."
Right. That's interesting.
Because in the other sports, you have penalties against that.
Right.
In football, the Mike Tomlin on the sideline with the kickoff.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
you had the tripping.
Yeah, him. Now,
right.
Obviously, it's a little bit different when you have a head
right.
When you're on the sidelines of the NFL game, you have strength coaches and assistant coaches that are telling the players, get back. The head coach,
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like walking into a company and telling the CEO what to do.
Right.
I said strength coaches. That's usually the guys who are that are quote unquote,
mm-hmm.
chaperoning the sidelines.
Right.
The strength coach is not going up to Mike Tomlin and being excuse me, Mr. Tomlin,
right.
Step back. So it's a little different from the head coach. But what if
it's interesting?
What if the 53rd guy just bang? What was a big play? The Scotty Miller.
Yeah.
What if?
Right. It's definitely interesting. And speaking of, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna play a clip on the other side of Aaron Rodgers talking about the future of the Packers, and I want to have a discussion off of that on Aaron Rodgers' legacy.
Some GOAT talk.
Well, not for him necessarily, but we're gonna get into it. Brad Emery in the morning. Marcus Brad. I'm Justin Emery. We'll be right back.
So how do you go on from here? I mean, you kind of hit on some of the realities a minute ago. So how do you go on from here? How do you take the next step?
Yeah, Bill, it's a good question. I don't know. I really don't. There's a lot of unknowns going into this off season now, and I'm gonna have to take some time away for sure and clear my head and just kind of see what's going on with everything. But it's pretty tough right now, especially thinking about the guys that may or may not be here next year. There's always change. That's the only constant in this business. It's really tough to get to this point. Really, really tough. Especially with it only being one bye week in the playoffs. It's a grind just to get to this point. And that makes the finality of it all kind of hit you like a ton of bricks. That's why it's a gutting feeling in your stomach.
Yeah.
So
Dejected.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can see like with him. I mean, how much this hurts and how he's feeling this right now because, and I wanted to play that clip before we start talking about it. And this might be something we only have about 10 minutes left. This might be something we start now and pick up tomorrow, because this is going to be a complex conversation about Aaron Rodgers' legacy. Because in my opinion, my perception of him completely has changed after yesterday. And that yesterday to me was a legacy game. That was a game that he had to have to cement his legacy. Everything was set up this year for the Green Bay Packers to be Super Bowl champions. Everything worked in their favor for this year. This was the year. This was their year. Like now I had Buffalo going to the Super Bowl. I did not have Buffalo winning the Super Bowl. I had the Packers winning the Super Bowl over Buffalo.
Right.
We picked Green Bay on Friday. And honestly, I didn't put money on it because I have, one of my betting commandments is never bet against the GOAT. I will never put money down against Tom Brady in a big game. I will never do that. Ever.
Well, do you know who Bill Krakenberger is?
No.
Big-time sports bettor out of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and usually I don't put too much stock in what the big bettors are saying because – I mean, you're operating with bankrolls that I can't even fathom. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, I mean, he put out – and usually he's one of the guys that sells his picks.
Right.
So I should have known when him and all the other sharps are putting out the picks for free, they made so – and I mean the sports books made so much money on Aaron Rodgers losing.
Yeah. Absolutely, because
combined then with Conor McGregor losing the night before.
Yeah, Vegas
made some money.
Vegas had a good weekend, and you look at what happened there, and the reason why, because it was a game, it was a legacy game. It was a game that you had to have.
I think that you can't call Aaron Rodgers Dan Marino because he has a Super Bowl.
Yes,
but you're now looking at Aaron Rodgers in the realm of. And like I said, you can't really call him not a champion because he has won before. So he is a champion.
He's an underachiever. He's an underachiever.
He's the guy who's super talented, but just never gets the dub.
And I was an Aaron Rodgers apologist for a lot of years.
He's still a monster. He's
talent-wise, no question. But I'm talking about your legacy and what it's going to look like. So right now, after that, he's now 1-4 in NFC Championship games. He has the same amount of NFC Championship wins as Rex Grossman, Nick Foles. Continue, let's do let's do this one. That might be a cheap shot. Let's do this. So you now have the same amount of NFC Championship wins as Tom Brady. Here's the problem with that. You've been in the NFC 15 years. You've been in for one. I mean, listen. Let's go back to 2009, 2010. Like I said, going into Friday when we were talking about the game. When Aaron Rodgers, when they won that Super Bowl in 2010, I, like many others, thought this was the beginning of a new dawn.
Now,
this was a new era.
Let me ask you this.
And it didn't materialize.
Is Aaron Rodgers an underachiever, or does he have terrible franchise support.
I can't do that anymore. That's what I did that. I
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, okay.
What if, because we can all agree that the Eagles have terrible franchise support, correct?
Correct. Now, yes.
Okay.
I would agree.
Okay. I don't want to preface this by saying I'm not comparing these two players, but what if Aaron Rodgers has it to surpass, lack of institutional support, okay, but Wentz can't? What if these two are just, hypothetically the same type of guys, just one's better and can overcome it, and one can't? Like, what if Rodgers is so good that he happened to win that one Super Bowl because of how bad it is? Now, I don't know. I'm just throwing these. I'm throwing these thoughts just out into the abyss. Like,
it's interesting.
What if they're so bad? I mean, they've only ever drafted one receiver for him in the first round, ever in his whole career. He has one receiver drafted in the first round, number 17, who's catching passes for them.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, I saw this one of their draft picks this year took snaps in the postseason, and it's because he was a special teamer. So your whole draft this year played no impact whatsoever. Zero impact. You could have not drafted this whole year and still made it to the NFC title game. Think about, like, zero.
They did last year.
Well, so is it that Rodgers is so good that he can overcome that, or is it, like you said, he's an underachiever?
If we had this conversation on Saturday afternoon or Sunday at 3:04 p.m., I would have said organization is more the issue. After yesterday, I can no longer say that. Because yesterday was the opportunity to change everything. That was the opportunity for you to submit your legacy, and you didn't do it. You didn't make it happen. You had 3 possessions in the fourth quarter. 3 possessions with a chance to take the lead, and you didn't on any of them. You threw an interception at the end of the first half that cost your team 7 points.
That's fair.
You did all of that. That was you. You on those first couple of drives stumbled. You got sacked. This is you. You. I can't put it on anybody else but Aaron Rodgers. I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy.
Do you think
this doesn't feel good to say this, but it's the truth?
Now, do you think that? No, I don't think Rodgers played bad though. That's the thing. I don't think
he played okay.
I don't think he played a terrible.
But was he?
Well, I think that
was he elite?
I think that Matt LaFleur's game plan was more to blame than Rodgers' play. Now, I'm not saying Rodgers played his best game. I mean, I'm not saying that.
Well, they have a very, like I said, they have a very goofy relationship.
Like, if you're looking at just stats, Rodgers played better than Brady. If you're looking at the numbers. Now, like I said, if you watch the game, it's a different. But if you're looking if you look at the box score,
those 2 of those 3 interceptions for Brady is not Brady's fault. The one like the one
with
Evans over the middle, it was a little high.
It was actually both of Jair's.
It was
who I told you I'm a big fan of.
Yes. But
it was both of his interceptions weren't
it was
really.
It was a little high. However, you played football, you know the rule. If it hits your hands, you got to bring it in.
And then the other one was just the wind just took that one just.
Well, no. Well, what happened was it was Jair. Jair comes in hot, and Brady gets rid of it. Brady's throwing a 50-50 ball, but Mike Evans never turns around.
Yeah.
So he keeps going and runs the end zone, and the ball's just sitting up there.
Yeah.
That's not the quarterback. That's the receiver not paying attention to the moment what's going on.
Yeah.
He never looked back.
But like I said, if you just busted out the box score and looked at the box score,
right.
It looks like Rodgers outplays Brady when you're looking at the box score.
Yes.
So I don't think he played a terrible game.
No.
What I think came out is that Tampa Bay defense came out and they were popping pads. They were
not playing games.
That's what they were doing. They were popping pads.
Yes, but that again to me was a legacy game where Rodgers had a chance to grab his legacy by the horns and he didn't do it. So now
you're a little bit more dramatic on that than I am. I mean, it's definitely a little, I think you hold it against him more than I hold it against him.
Yes.
Like, it's definitely a red flag, but it's a bigger flag for you than for me.
But real quick before we get out of here.
Yes.
Is Rodgers back next year? I mean, he's under contract till 2023. He's done that extension, so he's under contract.
Yeah.
But the way that sounded like a goodbye letter to me.
It did. But I mean, he's a weird kind of a strange cat.
He'll
go into the offseason, do what he has to do.
Yes.
And that's that. But
yes.
Another great show.
Yes. And there's a lot, like, also real quick, I want to go through names real quick. So QBs who could be on the move this year: Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, Carson Wentz, Cam Newton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Dak Prescott, Mitch Trubisky, and maybe Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, we'll be diving all into that tomorrow.
Yes. Don't forget to check out Uncle Mike's Ice Cream, 527 York Road. Sundays, shakes, the whole thing. I'm a Sunday man myself. Go give them a holler. I know it's winter, but give them a holler.
They're open year-round, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's open year-round. It's really Sundays.
You know,
Happiness one scoop at a time.
You know where it might be cold outside, but you know where it's warm?
In my belly?
Well, I was going to say in your car, but sure.
That's true. That's true.
All right,
All right, so listen, follow me at Marques Between everywhere.
At Justin Emery Show on Twitter.
But where are you going to respond?
Twitter.
There you go. Follow Brian Emery Pod everywhere. And until next time, you can be with us, you be against us, but you're never going to stop us. Late.